Okay, there we go. Okay, go ahead.
So if I had weighed 80, if I weighed 150, 160 pounds and you lose 80, you're in bad shape.
So actually, you're being overweight. That
Weight
original bracha
probably saved my
saved you
life.
right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So they gave him my name, the present one. His father died in 1968 or 1969, I forget. So the present rabbi saw my name and he laughed. He laughed. And he said, don't disconnect. In 30 days, he's going to walk. In 60 days, he's going to talk. And in 90 days, he's going to swallow. All of which was impossible. I had no choke reflex. I couldn't swallow a thing. My tongue was frozen. My face was frozen. My chest muscles were frozen. There was no way for me to talk. They came back. There were 14 expert doctors that were on my team, and they were beside themselves. And one doctor came up with a brilliant idea. He said, you know what? He said 30 days? Fine, we'll do it 30 days. If 30 days from now we're going to stand him up, if he doesn't walk, we unplug. Agreed? And my parents had to agree. And at that point it became a show or a contest or a test of wills. Who was going to win? The Hasidic Rebbe or the experts? And the weeks passed by. The 30th day was going to be on a Monday. 2 days before was a Saturday afternoon, and the head neurologist, whose name I just don't recall, but he was at that time Muhammad Ali's neurologist as well. He's one of the top guys at NYU at the time. He came in with his students. NYU is a learning hospital, so a lot of doctors bring their students to see different patients. And he gave a speech in front of me. He didn't realize how well I could hear. This doctor said to his students, in your career as doctors, you can meet all types of patients with all types of backgrounds and all types of belief systems. Some believe in plants, that if you do certain things with plants, that'll create a positive energy and that will cure. Some people believe in Catholic saints. Some people believe in candles. You like candles, different colors or different scents. Some people believe in trees and all sorts of crazy things. These people believe in Hasidic Rebbes. And he went on to say what the Hasidic Rebbe had said.
Right.
Now, this doctor didn't know that I could hear like a bat. So he leaned up very close to me and said very loudly in my ear, now I can move these two fingers, but that was it. He said, if you can feel anything, tap. And I didn't know this at the time, but I found out later. He took a scalpel and he sliced open the bottoms of both my feet. I naturally didn't feel a thing. And he said to them, he didn't feel that now. And he's supposed to walk in 2 days. What do you think? And they walked away, and the nurse came, and she was very upset, and she cleaned me up. The next day was a Sunday, and I didn't know what was, I myself knew but didn't know what was coming. I had heard bits and pieces, but people mostly spoke outside the room because they knew I could hear very well. The doctors, for some reason, didn't know as much as my friends and family did. All day long, from early Sunday morning, people started coming to see me for one last time and to say goodbye. And it was very much like attending your own funeral. There was one friend of mine, her name is Roseanne Schnoll. She's a PhD. She teaches nutrition and health science at Brooklyn College. And she did something very special. Around 10 o'clock that night, she was there all day long. Around 10 o'clock that night, she left the room to make a phone call. About half an hour after that, a man walked in who I'd never seen before, I've never seen since, and I never knew his name. And he did Rodney Dangerfield impressions. Perfect Rodney Dangerfield impressions. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. And I asked her afterwards, after a while I asked her, was able to speak and we were just talking, why didn't you do that? I mean, you could have done it. My birthday was a few weeks beforehand, you could have done it. Or Thanksgiving, you could have done it. Why then? She said, so that your last night on earth should be with laughter, not with tears. Now, I couldn't laugh. I couldn't move muscle, but my whole body vibrated. I've never thanked her publicly, so I'd like to thank her now. She was a wonderful friend then. She's been the most incredible friend all these years. There's one other person I'd like to mention. When I came back from that experience that I had with those souls and my heart coming back, next to my best friend Randy was his youngest sister, Susan Settembrino. Susan Settembrino today is a lawyer. I've known her since she's a small child. You may know the name from the Duff Hiken show. She's on there, on that show very often. And she's a fantastic lawyer, by the way. And she's been the most phenomenal friend. The reason I'm mentioning these people in particular is for the following reason. It's written in the Jewish holy books that a person is lucky to have one good friend in a lifetime. I've been blessed that I've had several, but these three are spectacular. Anyone seeing this video, I'd like to give you two blessings. One is that you should have at least one friend like any of these three friends, and the other blessing is you shouldn't need to have a friend like this ever. The next day is Monday. Oh, that Sunday, my sister flew in. My oldest sister, the one who I mentioned earlier in the story, that we went to see the Square Rebbe and he blessed her to get married. She flew in. She lives now in Caracas, Venezuela, and then too. And she flew in to see me. She didn't tell me why. I mean, she flew in actually to say goodbye to me and to attend my funeral. But I didn't know that at the time. But I thank her anyway. So the next day, I'm strapped into my wheelchair, and they bring me out to the nurse's station, and I have an oxygen tank in back of me. They roll me out, and there is a world of people there. There are students, and all the doctors are there, and all the nurses are there. Everyone's there. They want to see who's going to win this test of wills. And the nurse and my sister picked me up. I couldn't move a muscle. My chin is on my chest. I can't move. How am I going to walk? And the doctor said, okay, walk, come, walk. And I moved these two fingers to my sister. I have no idea what I did, how I did it. I have no idea how my sister understood me. But she understood that I had forgotten how to walk. So she said to me, put out one foot. And I put out my right foot. And there was a suction of air, like everyone went, everyone was shocked all at the same time. And then she said, now put out the other foot. And I did that. Now repeat. And I started moving my legs. And after about a minute or so, I was able to, first it was very slow, then I was speeding up. After a minute or so, now I'm like this, and it was like air was blown into my body. My chin leaves my chest expands, I'm able to move my arms. I don't know, you have no idea what it is like to move your arms. If you don't move your arms for a while, or your legs, the muscle attaches itself to the bone. So when you actually do lift it, or if it's lifted for you, it has to tear from the bone. It's very painful. But they put a walk around in front of me. I reached for it, which was impossible for me to do even 10 minutes earlier. And I started walking first very slow, and then a very quick pace. While this is going on, I lift my head, and I see out of the corner of the one eye that's open a little bit, I saw the same neurologist.
The same one who said you will never,
I would never walk again, period. Look what I just did to his feet. And he swore on his reputation of so many years as a doctor that it's impossible for me to do this. And he was purple. And he stormed out of that section. He was the only one. For everybody else, it was New Year's.
How many specialists actually said you were a vegetable, you would never walk again? How many?
Aside from my primary doctor, there were 13 specialists.
So 14
14
certified, educated doctors
of many, many years
said
experience.
you are dead,
I'm
unplug the machine.
Right. No chance.
Wow.
So that was pretty good. And a lot of people, when they heard about it, it's not possible. They didn't tell my father right away, by the way. I surprised him a little bit later on. They kept him busy at the nurse's desk, and they rolled me out of the room, and I stood up by myself, and I gave him a hug, and I put my hand over his eyes. So he's trying to figure out who's hugging me. He couldn't imagine who was hugging me. Now I couldn't